Hey everyone, this is Carson Nance with CN3 Performance Enhancement, and today I wanted to kind of go over a few things about the summer that I've had a lot of clients ask me about, how they should spend their summer training, preparing for their next season, regardless of what sport they play. A lot of kids are ending school, last week, this week, and next week, kind of trying to finish out the school year strong, and, they come and ask me, okay, I got a couple months off. What can I do to improve both physically, mentally, and with their nutrition? So today I'm going to go over the 7 steps that athletes can use over these next couple months in order to prepare themselves for whatever season's coming up. Again, whether it be boys, girls, whatever sport, these are just kind of some general topics that will help them develop in lots of different areas. The first one's going to be to reflect and set goals. Now, this is usually done at the beginning of the summer, and what they kind of need to do is review past season performances. What went well, what didn't go well, were there injuries, were there mental blocks that kind of stopped them from doing their best, and assess them. The next thing they can do is set SMART goals. Now, those are goals that are tailored specifically to the athlete that they can use to both include performance and process different things that they can do throughout the entire summer that can be broken up and allow them to improve as much as possible. The third would be to, consult either coaches, trainers, or someone, like me who does a lot of mental and physical training for athletes. Summertime is one of the most busiest where athletes can make the most progress in lots of different areas. And so this is one of the busiest times that athletes reach out and say, hey, I want a training program, I want a mental program, because without the pressures from practice and games, they can really focus on themselves singularly. Second thing that athletes can do is prioritize physical development. Now, once they've made their goals and set them early summer, then they move into, what is the physical strength and conditioning programs they can do in their technically off season. Now, this off season is ideal for building strength and power without the in season fatigue. What we do a lot of times is focus on a lot of compound movements, functional training and mobility work, and different conditioning drills that would, primarily be assimilated into whatever sport they're playing or whatever their position or body's going to need to demand when they're in season. With that would come speed and agility training, endurance and cardio base. And the last would be injury prevention, where they can rehab past injuries, work on muscle imbalances, and increase joint stability and mobility. The third things athletes can do in their off season is work on skill work. Now, this usually comes mid to late summer, once they're kind of getting closer to a preseason or whatever's coming up, and they've gotten their conditioning and a lot of their strength base already provided. These could be technical drills, things tailored to the person's sport and position. Then we go into repetition and muscle memory, deliberate practice and quality over quantity. No drill's good, no matter how many times you're doing it if you're doing it incorrectly. The last piece would be game simulation, which is small-sided or scrimmages to enhance decision-making and timing, or if it's one-on-one work where you want a specific drill or a specific skill that you want to improve on for the season. The fourth piece is going to be mental preparation. Now, this kind of goes on all throughout the summer. Couple different things that clients come to me wanting to work on is visualization, practicing imagining in-game scenarios and success under pressure. You got mindfulness and meditation techniques, help with focus, recovery, and stress management. Along with that comes breathing work, breathing techniques that everybody uses at different times in different ways. And then the big chunk of it is sports psychology, which is what you do when you work with a specialist like myself. And you might journal about your mindset, habits, and confidence. You might do different goal setting with different tiers, gold, silver, bronze level throughout the whole summer. Anxiety preparation, communication skills. With mental health and sports, so many facets can be worked on in so many different ways that it's a never-ending, skill set. It's kind of like what they say in, some of the martial arts and fighting world, you're always a student of the sport. Just like with mental health and sports psychology, you're always a student. It's one thing that can always be improved on, whether before, during, or after a season. The fifth thing an athlete can work on over the summer is their nutrition and recovery. Now, whether that's fueling training with, having enough calories, proteins, and the hydration that your sport would require, whether that's recovery, sleep, making sure you're getting not only the right quantity, but the right quality of sleep, stretching, massages or foam rolling, active recovery days. There's lots that can go into recovery, both mentally and physically, that would help improve and help last the duration of the training sessions. One other piece would be supplements if they're needed, and especially under supervision, whether that's with a doctor or a trained professional, about different ones that can help muscle endurance, protein, creatine, electrolytes. There's lots of different stuff out there, and as an athlete develops, so should their nutrition and recovery processes. The sixth thing that an athlete can do mainly to break the summer up into phases is having different things that they want to work on throughout different stages of the summer. You would have a foundation phase, which might be the early summer, where you focus on strength, mobility, and the general fitness. Then you have the performance phase, which would be about that midsummer range, where you do sport-specific skills and high-intensity training. And then you have the taper phase, which would be late summer. It's where you sharpen skills, reduce the volume, and peak for preseason. Now, if this is not your preseason, you're not playing a fall sport, this would all apply to the fall if you're getting ready for a winter sport, or the winter if you're getting ready for a spring sport. So you can use these in all different areas, but the main thing is doing it 2 to 3 months in preparation for when your season's going to fully start. The last thing that an athlete could do over the summer or in their down season would be, talking with their coach or their team, attending team workouts if those are available, camps or open gyms if that's possible. Communicate regularly with your coach about your progress, having check-ins, having some sort of communication system where they can not only monitor what you're doing, but it also helps them know you're involved and that you're training over summer and that they get to see the progress you're making. The last would be to build teammates and work with them if you want to build chemistry and push each other. Again, I know that's not available for everyone, but if possible, there are certain dynamics that can help in group and partner training that would greatly enhance a little bit better than, certain drills or aspects that are only single person use. Lastly, the main thing to do in the off season is just to avoid burnout. Make sure you're taking planned rest days and even short breaks throughout the summer. All right. Still, athletes need to be able to enjoy themselves, enjoy the sport, enjoy the process, enjoy the training. It's all working towards a certain goal, of course, but the more you take care of yourself, the easier it's going to be to get towards your goals. You could mix in some cross training, swimming, hiking, pickup games, keeping things different, try new gyms, try new teams, meet new people. Again, the more you can increase your knowledge about a sport and the training and everything that goes into it, the greater wealth of knowledge you're going to have when the season comes and the coach or the team's going to need you to do different things. So that's just kind of what I wanted to share for the summer training programs that I'm currently doing with athletes and as we're gearing up for the summer off season for a lot of them. So if you or anyone have questions, let me know your sport or goals if you want a more tailored approach. I'd be glad to work with you and we can kind of find some goals and some ways to help improve both on and off the field.